Speaking of your need to be really healthy and fit whilst tying cows together, calves, I should say. How did protective mummers get in the way? How do they behave when you try to do something like that?
You'd be charging along across the paddock looking at the calves until you grab it, and then you grab the calf only to have a cow's head stuck right up your. What are you doing to my calf?
Right.
Right up your butt, and some of them were a bit aggressive, but I mean,
well, if it's their kid,
what are you beating my calf up? So you had some interesting moments. If Monty Python could have learned a few things. If they'd been watching, it would have been just hilarious to watch me running across the paddock chasing two calves chained together with a dairy cow chasing me.
Had anyone done that before?
Oh, yeah, I got it. I'd done it before back on the dairy farm when you had a cow that you didn't want to milk and you thought, oh, we'll whack another calf on it. And I don't know where we got the idea originally from, but it had been done quite considerably before, yeah.
Yeah, right. So shifting gears, balancing soil and animal health. You mentioned the link between the nutrition and animal health. When did it first become clear to you how deeply connected those systems were?
Well, from the dairy farm and understanding, putting the selenium and the copper in the water trough and seeing the change in the animals, it just became more and more ingrained every day. Every time we changed something and the animal got healthy and going, okay, if I take it off them, look what happens to the animal when they don't get access to those minerals. And it just become total and more brutal. And I guess that was a real interesting insight when we were going to this discussion group, and we had probably 10 or a dozen in the discussion group, and I couldn't get any engagement into what we were doing. Like, I was going, well, I see you've got those problems. I know what that is. I've seen that. And you talk about it. So then what was discussion group actually for? Other than just going out for a cup of tea every once a month and talk about their farms. But there was actually, although there was ideas shared and, trough moulds that we borrowed from one farmer to the other farmer or turn up to help, make hay or, dock the lambs or something like that. But the actual transition of farming technology didn't move through the group. And I really... our financial survival up on that farm was absolutely intrinsic on finding out how the stuff worked. Otherwise, we were just never, ever going to make it work.
Yeah, well, speaking of making it work and surviving that, how did you stay so optimistic as beef farming and sheep farming even became less viable?
It was a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It was and is still, well, not there at the moment, but it absolute magic. And to be optimistic was to just see the changes. You go, wow, look at that. When am I going to win? We're going to win out of this process. And there was always something to move forward on. And the continual trialing and experiments and, look at that and look at that. That's really what kept me optimistic and moving forward was like, wow, you can make a change. Or we can make it change for what we want to do.
True. Well, okay, now coming back to basic slag. So it sounds like a godsend for your soil. How did you first come across it?
That I had a brochure and they'd been using it on carrots and bits and pieces up around Pukekohe, and I just got hold of this brochure and I'm going, look at the numbers on this. It says it's got this, 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 and this. And there was some warnings from people about, pH and don't let the stock eat it and go, oh, well, that shouldn't be too hard. I can get this product here and I can put it on here and then I can do so much around the farm and I can get so many loads.
In order for them to not eat it, you put it on and after then leave it for a while, right?
Yeah, well, after they grazed. And so they graze, so you go behind the cows, you'd spread it on, and then by the next rotation, once it's rained and that, it's gone into the soil and they wouldn't eat it. Yeah.
Okay.
And all the time that I used it, I think I lost one beast, which actually broke out into a paddock that had it in there, and it
wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be there, but an absolute godsend, honestly. And it as we go through the book, the beginning of that, and then going back to what happened on the peat farm with the silica underneath was like, am I supposed to be learning this or something?
Exactly how unique is basic slag? Like how unique or unusual or sort of alternative is it?
Well, they used to get it in the old days, it used to be all Belgian slag, and it used to come in paper bags. I think Dad was saying, 25 kilos or 100 weight.
And why is it called slag? And
It
basic?
comes well. I don't know what the basic is, but it comes out of the steelworks. So basically, when they are melting iron ore, they put in calcium and magnesium to actually catch the impurities and come out from that process. And the interesting thing about the New Zealand slag is that it's made with the iron sand off the West Coast beaches.
Okay.
Okay, and they put it into the furnaces at Glenbrook, and they pour calcium and magnesium into there to take the slags off. Now, if there's enough, because there's quite a bit of sand that comes off the beach, some silica sand. So when silica sand gets over 1100 degrees, it melts and it turns into a hydroxide, and there's calcium there, so it goes into a calcium silicide hydroxide. It's just the instant reaction that happens at that.
So that doesn't turn it into glass?
No, it takes it from glass into a hydroxide. So
No
glass,
way.
SiO2 is glass, but at that heat, it can actually turn into a hydroxide.
So it goes further than the heat that turns things to glass?
Yeah.
Huh.
Instead of just melted glass, you've now got a hydroxide product, and you throw this calcium magnesium in to grab all the trash that's left out. And that's really the critical thing. Silicon and magnesium silicates are incredibly available in soil biology, and that's what we found out very quickly.
Because slag sounds like just leftover shit, waste product.
Well,
But
it wasn't.
turns out that it's really useful.
Well, it's not so useful anymore because they've got such a good screening plant out on the West Coast now. There's hardly any silicon goes into it, and so there's no calcium, magnesium silicates that come off in great quantities, and they've stopped selling it to livestock farmers anyway. But I mean, it's got it. I did try it one more time when we bought the block next door, and it didn't work. And I got into huge animal health issues, and it was only after a while that we actually worked out what had happened. They put a new screen in out at the West Coast before it went to the steel mill, and they'd taken all the silicon out before it went into the furnace.
I might draw the reader's attention back to one other explosion on the farm, the explosion of clover and grasses after using the basic slag. Was this the most dramatic transformation you saw?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, as Reese used to say to me, he said, we grew rat's tail there last year. This year we grew red clover. and rat's tail is the most poor fertility, horrible species there was.
Right.
And the change was just phenomenal. It changed the farm. It changed our whole thinking patterns. It just changed everything.
I remember on your open day at your farm, and you'd invited the public through, and you told this brief story of people asking, when did you reseed the paddocks with red clover? And you said 1927.
Yeah.
Like, what's behind what's happening there with the fertility on your farm, and as if that relates to this point in the book? Because it's a really important thing to have red clover. From what I'm learning from you, it's a really good sign.
The critical thing is there's about 2,000 seeds per square metre. And the seeds respond to the soil conditions, to what comes up. So if the soil's not good enough to grow red clover, it won't germinate. Okay, and so if it is good enough to grow rat's tail germinates. Or if it's good enough to grow nodding thistle germinates. And people don't realise is that the weeds are just telling them that your soil is actually perfectly set up to grow whatever the weed is. That's all it's telling you.
Okay.
And so
are there good weeds and bad weeds on a scale of weeds?
Well,
in the sense that
if the
one type of weed will indicate the fertility of the land.
Well, you put it this way, what we've seen is when you get it right, you don't grow weeds.
Okay.
Now, some people might call them weeds, but if they're beautiful, grow vigorously, and the livestock love them and they eat them up, well, that's not a weed.
Not really. It's food.
That's right. Nutrition.
Yeah.
So the thing is that the seed was there and it was just waiting for the right conditions. And so what I saw through that process was just phenomenal. The response was just, oh my good God, I'm growing some grass. Now all those fences and water troughs I put in, I can actually utilise the areas and whole process. So, it was such an eye-opening exercise. It took so long, and I'm still unwinding it now. 20 years on now, I'm still learning from those first episodes about what was I looking at? How am I? What chemistry is that? What effect does that have on our soils? And these are the things that are not done in research at the moment. There is no consideration of the whole.